Good day everyone, how are you all doing? This is Yix here at Magnet Crypto, back again with another video. In today's video we'll be looking at the XRP pump and dump, we'll be looking at Bitcoin's correction potentially being over, and we're going to be comparing Ethereum's price action versus Polkadot's future price action and its potential route to exponential high prices. So stick around and let's secure the bag. So first and foremost, let's look at Bitcoin's price action. So as you can see here, Bitcoin has clearly been acting in this chart pattern. It's been behaving in this falling wedge formation with this downsloping counter trend line and this downsloping trend line. And only today we're finally seeing some good green action, price action, and where we're almost above this counter trend line. Now, of course, we need to wait for confirmation before we can actually plan ahead. However, once this finally does get broken, I suspect potentially we could get a retest of this trend line before going up, or potentially we'll go straight past previous resistance and hit an all-time high, and then potentially retrace and then shoot off. That's what I could potentially see happening with Bitcoin. Another thing I do want to make a note of is, in terms of timescale, and this is what I mentioned in my private Telegram group, link for that is in the description. In terms of timescale, we are nearing the end of an average correction in a bull run for Bitcoin, because the average correction is about, give or take, a month. If we look at the previous bull run, 2017, we'll use that as our historical example. Especially early in January and early in the start of the year, the correction only lasted from the actual first week of correction. It was about 2 weeks for this, but then to recover back to where it was before, it's about a month, 28 days, 35 days before we actually went above the previous candle closure and then continued on. Even if we look at the next correction, which is due for March to April, this took about 28 to 35 days before we actually continued on going higher. So the month figure, give or take, is how long the correction normally lasts, especially during the beginning of the bull run. Over here, again, you can see it took about a month, a little bit more than that in this instance, and then it was shorter and shorter as it goes up. So that's the data that I'm using in terms of analyzing how long this correction is going to be, and we have been correcting for about 3-4 weeks now, so there's not going to be too much left. There might be one more big move to the downside, a final shakeout, but there's not going to be that much longer left in terms of this correction, hence why I'm estimating a breakout very soon, and then the retest, and then shooting off. Again, let's have a look at how long this correction has been so far. So far up to this date, it's been 25 days. So we have not got too much longer until that 35-day period has been hit, which has been how many days it corrected in the previous bull run. And as I said many times, during the bull run, the corrections are a lot shorter than the rallies. So again, time is almost at its end for this correction. Again, the last thing I'll say is expect potentially one more big move to the downside before we continue on. However, as I've always said, it's not about catching the bottom. It's too difficult to do that. Even the professionals struggle to do that. But it's about averaging in the buys and making sure you are in the market when all these things are happening. So that is Bitcoin done. I suspect we'll be hitting the new all-time high probably this month of February, before another correction potentially around summertime, give or take, because these things have to breathe. In terms of rallies, they can't continue on going up exponentially. It has to breathe, it has to retrace before continuing on. It has to invite in more buyers, more liquidity before it can continue on. So every time there's a massive rally, it needs to breathe, take a breather, and then continue on. That's how these rallies normally work. Let's move on to XRP now before we do our comparison between Polkadot and Ethereum. Because Polkadot, I think, is really going to be one of the it's already a star contender for this year, being one of the most popular cryptos, but it's done so well in terms of price action, its performance. I want to take an extra look at Polkadot and compare it to Ethereum because they are quite similar projects. So let's look at XRP first and foremost before we do that. So as I mentioned in the previous video, and as many people know, there was an XRP pump and dump group that was set up to do a similar thing that happened to GameStop and AMC and all these other stocks, basically pump it to the moon and beyond. And what happened is it did actually pump a lot on the day that they said it was going to happen, which was February the 1st. If we look at the actual gain in price, it was about 172% gain, which is still a lot. It's not compared to I think it was like 700% for GameStop, but it's still a significant amount, and it is massively retraced because, as always, and the more experience you gain, the more you understand these kind of hype projects don't last too long. These pump and dump groups do not last too long. When the hype runs out, it instantly sells off, and this XRP pump and dump was no exception. Many people, or the people that orchestrated the pump, simply wanted to sell their XRP to other people. They wanted to make a quick profit because they knew that they would not be holding the bag at the end of the day. So that's why there was a massive sell-off. Unfortunately, people that bought near the top thinking that it's going to go much further are now in the red, but you learn, you take responsibility, and you move on. If we look at some of the articles that have been written, XRP pump fails, obviously very bearish articles as price crashes 40%, XRP plunged. If we look at the news, it's all, of course, the fact that it's a pump and dump scheme and it didn't work. So, as I said, if you are unfortunately holding the big bag of XRP at 70 cents perhaps, then you got to take responsibility and learn from that, not to get swept up in the hype. The thing that I will say, which is the hope for XRP, in that I could potentially carry on, is, as I've said, I've been covering the Elliott wave correction. This could potentially be the third wave in a 5-wave move, where you have wave 1, wave 2 correction, a big wave 3, a wave 4 correction, and then potentially we could have a big wave 5 correction, taking it potentially closer to $1. That is the best case scenario for XRP, and it has bottomed out now at 36 cents, 37 cents, and it's starting to go back up. This could potentially happen. Of course, it can still carry on correcting. What probably hope to see is for it to stop correcting at about 32 cents, which is the previous high, and then to start the wave 5. That's the last hope. Potentially a wave 5 could be coming, which would blast it past the previous high of around 75 cents. I myself did take advantage of this pump. I sold a little bit of XRP, which I bought previously. So I had a feeling that this was going to happen. I wasn't 100% sure, so I didn't sell all my XRP, but I did take advantage of this move. So that's XRP done. Let's have a look at Ethereum. Now this ETH chart does not hold all of the historical data, so we got to go a bit further back and use the Kraken site. So as I've said, the purpose of this comparison is that Polkadot is very similar to Ethereum in the fact that it's a platform for developers to build different applications on and do what they want to, serve demands for whatever people want. And it's a very well-run operating system. Although it's just starting, and the parachain auction will start in March, I believe, you can already see that it's got a lot more on Ethereum. But they're very similar in terms of they're both platforms that you build applications on. It's just that Polkadot is a lot more efficient because it has the benefit of hindsight of looking at Ethereum, looking at other projects, that the problems that they had and building on it, and of course the experience of the co-founder who co-founded, or the founder of Polkadot who co-founded Ethereum. So a lot of benefits, and they've maximized that with the creation of Polkadot. Ethereum, of course, there has the first mover advantage. It was the first to actually build on Bitcoin's white paper and to allow applications to be run on the blockchain. However, it's extremely inefficient in doing that. It's very expensive to run applications. But it has the first mover advantage, hence why its market cap is so high, and it's building on that, moving to proof of stake. So this is why we can compare the two very nicely, and we can also compare the price action. So looking at Ethereum, you can see, of course, it had a massive rally towards $12 initially, and then one would assume after a 12x move that surely there's not going to be too much room left to carry on going higher. That's what many people would assume. Even people are assuming that right now with Polkadot, it's gone to $20. Surely this is already, it's too high. It's not going to go too much further. We've missed the boat, and let's look for another cryptocurrency to invest in. However, you saw this massive consolidation period at the end of 2016, starting or ending in the beginning of 2017. Well, firstly, you had a massive correction even further than previously before continuing on. So in this period over here, for about almost a year, 60 days short of a year, one would assume Ethereum is dead. It's not going to go any further. However, of course, now we see a rally going all the way up to $50. Now again, let's put our minds to what someone would be thinking at this point after this massive consolidation and correction. What would someone be thinking after it's rallied another from the bottom 6x, now at $50? Most people would probably think, okay, now we've missed the rally, or we might have FOMO'd in, but it's not going to go any further. Surely this is it. It's too late to invest. Let's just leave it alone. So it consolidates for a couple of weeks. March to April, funny enough, as I mentioned with Bitcoin, there's another correction coming, probably March, April, and also in the summer. So at this point, you're probably thinking, or the average investor is probably thinking, who might not have invested in Ethereum, is thinking, okay, this correction, 15-20%, it's too late now, it's too expensive, I'm not going to invest. I'm going to look for something else to invest in. But then, of course, we have another monster move of about 600 to 700%, taking it to $350. And again, we have another consolidation period. Now, if you study TA, then you might have looked at this as time goes on and saw that this is an ascending triangle, and this is a pattern which normally leads to an upwards breakout, a very clear ascending triangle, so it's most likely gonna keep going higher. But again, what would the average investor think? One who might not be following TA, they're probably thinking, okay, surely now this is it for Ethereum, it's too expensive, like there's no point in investing any further. And of course we have one final move, which is another 200 to 300% before the bear market begins. Now what I'm trying to show you is that many times people would assume that, over here, people will assume that Ethereum is done, it's too expensive now, it's too late to invest, leave it alone. And every time it continues to go higher and higher throughout the year. So this is the point I want to make with Polkadot. Although it's at $20 now and it's already, gone quite high since the start of the year, as you can see here, a massive parabolic move, two massive green candles, taking it just shy of $20. you might assume that, you know, it's already too expensive, you missed the boat. However, as Ethereum showed you in 2017, the year of the bull, it has many more legs to go before, you know, it's the bear market starts, which will probably be near the end of the year. So yeah, so this is the point that I'm trying to make with Polkadot. After looking at Ethereum's price action, you can see, well, actually $100 is actually not too much of a ask. Of course, the market cap is already quite high, but bear in mind now we have institutions investing large sums of money. So 1 trillion has already been surpassed in the total market cap of the crypto market. However, most likely we're going to hit 2 trillion by the end of this bull run. There's going to be a lot more value, a lot more money pumping into this space. So there's a lot more value that Polkadot can attract and can increase in market cap. So it can easily get to $50 for sure, $45, $50, and then perhaps $100. And who knows, maybe even much further. But the one thing is, you've got to be in it to actually benefit from these gains. Of course, it's not financial advice, it's just me making a point that showing you that you might assume that this is expensive or it's overvalued. But as Ethereum showed you, every time you think it's overvalued, Ethereum shows you that it is not. So hope you got some value from this video. This is all I want to say. If you like it, Polkadot or any other project, don't assume that it's overvalued, especially at the start of the year, at the start of the bull run year. So thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. Peace.